Welcome back to another episode of Football presented by PJ's Coffee. Got a big show for you guys today. Going to break down some of the stuff going on in the offseason. And it's always a big show up at a Matt Bauer's car dealership. Make sure you check him out at one of his many locations. He'll get you the best prices, best customer care, best customer service. Make sure you check out Matt for all of your new and pre-owned car needs. And look, guys, if you aren't signed up for Football, make sure you're doing that. Just go ahead and do it. Get it done. We'll give you extra shows, extra analysis, all kinds of stuff, live streams, a ton of stuff you aren't getting here on the podcast. If you really want to know what's going on with the Saints, make sure you check us out there. There's a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff, the good stuff, is on there and not on here. So if you want the good stuff, make sure you go check us out there. And if for no other reason, just support what we're doing and sign up. All right. B, what do we got today?
Just a aside, my favorite premium feature is the Nick Cast. So make sure you're in there. Nick, I just like the way you get in there and you just start cutting up sometimes. You might go on a 10-minute rant, you might go down a rabbit hole of something. It's really cool and it's really fun. So make sure you guys are in there. Now let's get into our first topic presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Nick, one thing that we do here at NewOrleans.Football is track every throw that the quarterbacks do during OTA's minicamp, and going into training camp, we'll do the same. Let's break down these charts, though, because we provide them on the website in those articles, though. Another reason why you should be signed up to NewOrleans.Football. But let's look at the differences between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, where they favored, where they struggled, just kind of where they're at.
Yeah, we're giving this one away on here for free, just so you can kind of see what we do. This is every day in camp, and I won't ever show these on this show again. But we're doing this like a 1980 sales tactic, where the first hit is free. You know what I'm saying? So you get that one, you come back for it. But look, I think there's a few things here. Like I know like training camp stat or not training camp stats, like OTA mini camp stats. Like people make comments. Shanahan was pissed about them the other day or whatever, and I do agree to an extent where like if someone comes out and they say a guy was like he was 10 for 12 today and that's it, and Spencer Rattler was 10 for 12 and Tyler Shough was 6 for 12 or whatever it is, I think that's incredibly misleading, meaningless, has no value, tells you nothing. I think you have to contextualize every single thing that's going on, and that's what we try to do to the best of our ability. And I think there are some telling things here. I was on OTB. I'm on there every Tuesday. Matt Flynn, he's like, hey, look, like who's completing the most passes over the middle? That's how completion percentage and passes over the middle are how you're really like going to determine this. Like from a quarterback who's played in the NFL's point of view, like that's the information he wants. That's the information we got here. Like these guys threw the same amount of passes. Rattler completed one more than Shough. But I think right now in TikTok, like I know you guys think that like I'm all in on Shough, but like honestly, if I had to pick a starter today, it's Rattler. I think by the end of this, Shough probably ends up winning it. Like that's where I'm at with it. But if nothing else changes as of today, I'm going with Rattler, and it's because of this quadrant right in the middle of the field. That middle of the field, 0 to 20. He's dotting it up. Like he's connecting more passes there. And the fastest way to the end zone is over the middle. Like a 10-yard pass over the middle has to cover less yardage than a 10-yard pass to the outside. Like it's just the quickest and fastest way to get the ball out. And I think that's where you see the separation between these two guys. Now I think Shough has done maybe a better job down the field. I think he's shown some more, explosiveness. And I think his over the middle stuff was getting better day by day by day by day. And I'm not even saying it's a deficiency. I just think that's Rattler's strength. And me looking at it, evaluating it, I'm like, man, I like this. I like what he's doing. I like how he's showing growth here. I like the in rhythmness. I like how quickly the ball's coming out. I like that his back foot's hitting and he's dotting up that pass over the middle. It means he's not getting sacked. He's seeing it quick. The ball's coming out. All this stuff. So right now, I feel like he's a little bit ahead. But I really do think by preseason game one, I think it's, if you're asking me to make my bet today, my bet today is on Shough. But if there is no growth beyond this, it's Rattler, man.
And then to put it in there too, they're playing with the same skill position players. So it's not like one is getting the second team skill position players and one gets the first. They're both playing with the same guys. But you said something about Shough and his experimentation on the outside, on just going more down the field. That's something that's kind of standing out to me, even though he's only one of two. He's 2 of 3. Yeah, even though he's only 2 of 3 on those, I think just continuing to push that envelope and getting out there and just cutting loose a little bit. Now, you could live by it or you could die by it, but he's doing it. And I think that's something that's encouraging for him. But I think it's also telling that they're both what and what right now, and one has been in the NFL for a year, and one just got in there. So I think Shough is going to continue to develop his over the middle game and just try to develop in that. But I agree with you. If you had to pick a starter right now, I would pick Spencer Rattler just because I don't think he would have those first rep jitters. I don't think he'll have those nervous energy that comes along with just being out there on the first time, because he's done it before. Even though he hasn't won a game, he's done it before, and he's been out there almost kind of in whatever scenario you could think about putting him in. You put him out there in his first game with Tampa Bay, Chris Olave gets hurt on like the third play, then continue to develop. You put him out there after you bench him for Jake Haener, he comes out at halftime and pulls him out of a deficit. So I think his ability to just make things happen where there kind of isn't anything to happen is going to put him ahead right now. But going into training camp, man, I'm just so excited to see how these guys come back. I know they're hungry, no question about that, because of the way they worked in this offseason. But I just think right now, yeah, Spencer Rattler has the edge, but Tyler Shough has a lot of promising things that can, elevate him over the finish line.
No doubt. Yeah. And I think Rattler has a lot of promising stuff. I think there's stuff he can get better at and all that stuff too. I just think my thing with Shough is that it's just like that timing and just the growth. Like there were a few incomplete passes and I was kind of getting cooked a little bit for being like, man, these like some of his best throws were incomplete. Like, why you get excited over an incompletion? Because like literally, if you see some of these things, it's very easy to just think in your mind, like, okay, like Brandon Cooks was a step too fast for him on this out route, but like he put the ball over him and the timing was just a touch off. But like that timing, you assume it is going to get better. A throw down the field goes out of bounds. Like Mookie gets 1 foot down, doesn't get the other. You look at it and you say, okay, like if he was throwing the Rashid Shaheed here and they had repped this 25 times, this throw is probably perfect and on time. And like he can get that out there and get it there, just flick of the wrist, balls down the field. That looks really good. I like Shough's creativity too. And I don't want to knock him for being a guy that's willing to get out of the pocket and make plays off script, because I think that's what has to happen in the NFL. I just kind of felt like as we watched it defaulted to that maybe a little bit too much in situations where it felt like maybe a time buying mechanism in a process where there isn't a pass rush. And it was just like, damn, like
what
that could be a little bit better. Like, and I feel like Rattler didn't do it. And my evaluation on that might be a little bit unfair, but I really do feel like right now, these two guys are neck and neck, and just a very small separator for me is kind of like the on rhythm and the over the middle stuff. But I don't feel like there was like Jameis was someone who wasn't really going over the middle like at all. And that was like a huge, I don't think that's going to be a problem here. Like when you looked at some of the throw chart stuff, like the ball wasn't going there like at all that 1 year. And it's just like, this is crazy. Like, I don't think it's that at all. I don't think it's a thing he can't do. I think it's a rookie coming in, getting the timing down, getting comfortable with everyone. And it wasn't quite there yet. And I think when he comes back, it will be. But as we say here today, yeah, Rattler's got a slight edge. And if I got to start a game tomorrow, he's my guy for that reason. Who do you got winning it though? Like if you got to pick one, like, are you
winning it by win? Winning it by
week? Who's the week one? Who's the week one starter for you?
Spencer Rattler. I think Spencer Rattler.
I got it different.
I think Spencer Rattler is the week one starter for me, and then maybe by week 4, coming off of that kind of span of tough goes, it might develop into Tyler Shough. But I think they take maybe Jacoby Brissett, Drake May approach of not putting him out early to kill his confidence if he goes out there and he loses all of those games, because he has a lot of tough early games. The Saints have a lot of tough early games, and I think you put Rattler out there, you see what he can do, and if it can't get it done, then you make a logical switch. Instead of just putting him out there, then you put Rattler out there. If he's just continuously struggling, now his confidence is shot and he has to work on getting that back up there. But I mean, look, they're neck and neck right now coming out of minicamp, so I can definitely see Shough overtaking it if he comes in training camps and he's just throwing body shots all day.
Let me reframe it.
Get it?
Let me reframe it. Taking because you're talking about it through like a strategical element as opposed to just like this is going to be the best. Like the way you just kind of said that, and maybe I'm hearing it wrong. It sounded a little bit like I think Tyler Shough's going to win it and be the better quarterback in camp, but they're going to go to Rattler in week 1 and let him play those first 4 games as a strategy to set Shough up for the best propulsion down the stretch. Like
that is exactly why I said that.
Yeah. Okay. So like you think Shough is going to be the ultimate winner, but it's just gonna it's a delayed start.
Yes.
Okay, I can see that. I mean,
Saving him from himself in like a kind of standpoint of being like of seeing Rattler go out there and just do stuff, but if he makes mistakes, then you're able to learn from that also, and not having you out there making those mistakes, falling flat on your face, and now you're getting your confidence just completely rocked. So
yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, that's definitely, and I mean, I think it's almost logical if you feel like those first 4 games are going to be rough and you want to protect the other guy from some of those mental ups and downs, the questioning of self, and kind of maybe putting him in a position to hit the runway and take off on a clear path. Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense to me. I could definitely see it that way. I do think, however they do it, I do think for me, I feel like yeah, if I got to pick one, I think Shaq's gonna have the better camp, and I feel like it happens by preseason week 1, but
okay,
it might be a little bit longer. I just felt like we saw him kind of just get better and better and better and better and better, and then I'm just kind of like putting it through my head, and I'm like, all right, like 15 practices in a game, like what's it gonna look like by then? And if it keeps on the path, I feel like he takes off. But I could also see it kind of not, or I could see this battle elevating both and it being kind of neck and neck. But I do think ultimately 6 wins out. Like I honestly think I just think ultimately he ends up being the one. But as of today, I think Rattler's got a slight lead in this. It wouldn't make my head explode if he maintained the lead either. I think he's a talented quarterback who can do a lot of things well. I mean, I've always thought that. I just kind of see the other guy like sprinting, kind of walking him down right now.
yeah, no, for sure. And even in this, I don't want it to make it seem like Rattler is this experienced veteran that can go out and show Tyler Shough, hey, this is how you do this, this, and this. This is how you handle this, this, and that. Because he's only had really 6 games to go out there and show something. So he's not somebody who's just completely, all right, I know where I stand. He's out here competing every day for this starting job to have it and not let it go. But to a point that you said maybe about a couple of topics ago, you said that you're not making an indictment on Shough, but you have noticed that he defaults to rolling out and stuff like that, even with no pass rush. What do you think leads into that mind frame right now? Because there is nobody actively coming to you. And out of these two, who do you think is more scared of making a mistake?
I think Shough just kind of, I think that that's how he plays.
Mhm.
Period. Like I think that's just part of his game is to extend plays, and I like it. And it's one of the reasons I like the pick of him. It's one of the reasons I like the scout of him. Like when I was watching him, and it was like, man, like he can do a lot of stuff. He's creative. He can throw from these different arm angles. I have no problem with that in general. In this setting, sometimes it kind of feels, maybe it looks different than it would in a actual game where it's like, if you're rolling out and you're buying a little bit more time and you're hitting the pass, a 12-yard out route or whatever,
Yeah.
you aren't really thinking like, man, like he's not playing in rhythm here. So I do think the setting, and also I think one of the things that you got to be careful when you're watching players, whether it's in a practice, and I'm maybe at fault at this right now, like whether it's in a practice or if you're watching one quarterback and then you're watching another quarterback come out of college and you're watching them back to back, is to not necessarily let the residual of the guy before influence how you see the second guy. And what I mean by that is, like, if you watch, I don't know who it would be, Ryan Mallett, like whoever it is, like somebody that has just
You digging for that name.
but like, I'm just trying to think of a guy with like an ungodly arm strength that just, you watch him and then anyone you watch behind, it's like, man, this guy has a 1 on arm strength, and then it makes everybody else after look like they got like a 3 because this guy's arm is just so strong.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were just kind of watching him clean and judging him against like not the freak outlier or someone that does something incredibly well, like it's like, oh, like this guy's a 2, this guy's a 1.5. But like, because you watch Ryan Mallett, now you watch the next guy, it looks like a pop gun because the first guy just has a rocket launcher, and that can influence how you see things.
Right.
So I say that to say, like, watch him, like Spencer, like really seems like he has a really great rhythm right now, and his great rhythm might make somebody else's processing look a little bit different. Whereas, like, maybe it's not this thing that should be getting criticized in a public forum right now. But what I think leads to it right now is that I do think that there's just like, and I think it's gotten better. There was one day where I was almost going to make a note of it on our write up on the site. It's like, man, like he's rolling out and it's to the left every time. And I was like, this is a little bit like he's kind of going to, is he going to like a security thing here? And I'm like, I'm going to see another practice. I don't want to make another draw conclusion. And then the next practice, I felt like there was a lot more stuff from the pocket, and then there was more rolls to the right. And it was like, okay, like this is a little bit more even here. And then I think over time, it kind of flattened out a little bit. And as we got into mini camp, I felt like he was making more throws over the middle and kind of hitting that stuff. Like, so it kind of just felt like it was a timing thing. And I think he was kind of hitting some of these rolls just to kind of give himself that extra beat to kind of see everything unfold. And I felt like as he got more and more comfortable, like it kind of felt more cohesive. And that's the thing, when you're only seeing 5 practices and you're trying to analyze them, and then you have 6 weeks of content to do, like you're going to talk about little things probably more so than you should, where it's like, okay, I'm seeing a practice today and then I'm seeing one tomorrow, and then you look up and you got 5 of them in a row, and then now you got 10, and there's just like actual things to analyze as a whole. And to these throw charts, I think as you look at it, nothing looks crazy on there. Now, like as individual pieces, there were a few that we posted where it is like all to the left, and it's just like, man, okay, like what happened here today? But that might have just been something he was working on that day too. Hey, look, like I didn't like how this ball came out, so I'm gonna drift to the left a little bit on a couple of these and try to hit them. That could be something that's playing out too. But to answer your question, very very long roundabout way to just say like to think that I every now and then I feel like he was just buying himself an extra beat in the context of a game. That's like Mahomes plays like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not. There's probably a little bit of contextualizing this conversation through like a 2007 lens where like, Peyton Manning's in the pocket. Like people just don't play like that in general. Like, and you don't want someone to, so I don't want to dink someone for that. But I also just felt like just like the over the middle Rattler stuff is just, I thought was just more of a identifier of someone just kind of really being just in rhythm, quick stuff happening, thought process happening quick. Whereas, the other guy felt like looked like a guy in his 4th practice is an NFL pro at times. But his 4th practice is better than anybody else's 4th practice I've seen with this team. So I thought I think it's indicative of that just a little bit.
No, for sure. But another part to that question was, who do you think is more scared of making a mistake? If anybody.
Yeah, I mean, to their credit, I really don't. I don't feel like either one of them was really playing like that. I feel like they were both being aggressive, trying to layer throws, rip stuff in there, and I didn't feel like I saw a tentativeness at all out of either one of them. Honestly, I mean, there was a bombs away day where they were both kind of going down the field. I don't. I feel like both of them have battled too, though, and I think they know that scared money doesn't make money in a sense. Like I think they know that. So I think if you're playing uptight, checking down all the time, being afraid to go down, like I tell me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like I felt like a timidness coming off of either one of them.
No, I felt like they were both going out there just giving out their best punches to try to succeed and try to outdo not only the other person but themselves every day. And with them both having an interception, I think that's also positive because nothing stands out as like, oh, well, he threw a pick this day and he didn't throw a pick at all. So I think them being neck and neck is just it's fun. It's fun because there is no clear winner right now. But when you look at it through the lens of, well, Tyler Shough has progressed this much in this short amount of time. Let's see how much Rattler can progress and continue to progress going into training camp. And then when they're in training camp, and like you said, being able to layer and stack those days every day and see how this one looks and how that one looks, and then continue to build patterns and stuff off of that. It's very exciting. And like we talked about last week, even with the preseason games, we don't know, how the run is going to look all the way, but it's going to be exciting because one of these two quarterbacks is going to be the starting quarterback throughout the season. And there's no guarantee that it's going to be one or the other at this moment right now. So I think that's just encouraging about the newness of this team and the freshness of this team because it's nothing like we've seen before down here.
I agree.
Let's go into our next segment presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Sticking with the quarterbacks, one in particular, Tyler Shough. There was a report the other day about what he wanted to see in his contract and everything like that. Him being a second-round pick, it's not unheard of for him not to have a contract signed by now. So why hasn't he signed a contract yet?
It is going a little bit longer than usual, but it's the whole entire second round. Usually they're signed by like the end of mini camp or whatever. And I'm sure the teams and the agents and everybody is pissed because Everybody wants to go on their little vacation and kind of just take care of that. But
Yeah.
like literally, like the whole second round is on sign right now. First two guys have signed. They got fully guaranteed contracts. Like that usually does those are unprecedented. That doesn't happen in this range. And there was a CBS report saying that some people said like Shough's holding steady at 40 and wants fully guaranteed, and it's like holding everything up. And like I don't know why people will be looking for him to be the guy that folds. I don't know why it was like pointed at him in that range. And they said like he expects to be the day one starter, and so he wants his money guaranteed or whatever. But like the thing is 30, 33, and 34 got fully guaranteed. So now 35 wants fully guaranteed. And if 35 gets a 36 is gonna want it.
Yeah.
37. So I was a little bit confused why the onus was being placed on 40 to be the folding point of this when the people before him haven't folded yet either. I didn't quite understand that one, but my understanding of the situation is that it's just a game of dominoes, you know, and if the guy before you is holding steady, you're just going to wait. You're going to wait to see because like, why would Shough fold today at 40 and let's say 39 doesn't fold and 38 and 37 and 30, like nobody else does. And now he's the dummy who folded, and for some reason people are looking at him to be the one to fold. So the guys before him lose their leverage. But if they just all hold steady, like why? Like, so I don't think there's anything to lose here. He's eventually going to sign the contract. Like it's all going to eventually work out. You know, I would say like the Saints are a tough team to kind of win a staring contest with. You know, we just saw it with the Derek Carr thing. So I mean, if it does get down to that showdown, I am going to be very interested to see who wins this. And at the end, like who's the one that kind of buckles. I think it'd be fascinating. I mean, I don't know if it gets to 40 though, but if I'm Shough, like why the hell would I sign my contract if the guys before me
I would.
they're gonna fight the fight, you know? Like the fight to me, the fight's happening at 35 right now, you know, like 35. I don't know. It was a little bit weird to me why they were looking at 40 to full, like other people on the outside are looking at like maybe I'm just not understanding the situation, but my understanding of it is just that like he's waiting to see what happens with the people before him.
And that makes just the most sense to me. But what is a deadline? Is a deadline at training camp? Is a deadline a week before training camp? If he doesn't sign by training camp, what does that look like?
It's a funny thing. Like leverage is always in the eye of the beholder in these situations. And there's the one where it's like, well, if he's not in training camp, he's losing time and he's not developing, and it's going to set him back on their quest to find the franchise quarterback. But then the other side of it is if you're Tyler Shough and you're not in camp and you're not practicing, well, now you're not winning the job, right? Like, so like you could, but you're losing valuable time and it's setting yourself back over this as well. So it's all in the eye of the beholder. Like, I think, you know, if you're comfortable with Rattler, like a lot of leverage is on the Saints side.
Right.
Now, but also you're the Saints and you invested the number 40 pick in this guy. So a lot of leverage is on Shough's side as well. So it just really comes down to, I don't know, like, you know, it's just always, it always depends on what side you're looking at it from. I don't know that I see a clear side with like that has the upper hand here. I think it's mutually beneficial for them to both get into camp. If you think he's going to be a good player over the next 4 years, like, I don't know, like guaranteeing the money doesn't really feel like a big deal to me. Like I would, but maybe, you know, that's one of those things where you have to protect yourself against regret. And it's one of those things where if you fold now, it's like, well, like, why wouldn't they just pay him? Like, if you believe in him, da, da, da. But like, what if it doesn't work out and you're trapped years down the road?
Yeah.
Then it's like, well, they're idiots for doing this. Like, why would they had Rattler, they didn't have to, da, da, da. So again, it's all a matter of perspective. But you know, if I'm Tyler Shough, I'm Tyler Shough's agent, I'm not giving up right now. There's no like, what's the hurry? I'm letting this thing play out. I want to see what these guys in front of me do. Like, go talk about 35. Like, he's the one on the clock. Go talk about 39. He's before me. Like, I was a little confused by the way that thing was framed.
Yeah, I mean, look, this isn't a Shamar Stewart situation where like micro
That
language,
one I don't understand.
not at all. Micro language and stuff is involved in there, and it has two people on two completely different sides. This is just, let's see how this plays out. And then
here's the thing with Shamar. For these summer camps, and I don't know if it exists for training camp or not. I would be surprised if it. I've never seen it come into play, but
Mhm.
OTA's minicamp, people sign waivers that fully guarantees their contract if they get hurt. So like even if you don't have a contract, you sign a waiver, and if you tear your ACL in there, it becomes fully guaranteed. So I'm not sure I understand that standoff. I haven't studied it, but on the surface, there's a mechanism that exists,
That
like just
clearly
to,
protects you from what can,
yeah,
be a downfall. I don't know. I was looking at it and then I heard someone talking about it kind of in more detail. And I just was like, I understand. Then they were saying, like, if he just doesn't sign, then it becomes a whole legal thing. Then he'll possibly go back and be able to be drafted again next year. And it's like, well, I've never seen anything like that. But
yeah.
then I don't know. I don't know how all of this works. Is way, way, way before my time. But I saw something saying that John Elway and Bo Jackson were both signed by different teams and then ended up playing for another team or something like that. I really don't know too much about that, but I just saw that as like a scenario.
Yeah, yeah, the thing with him is he'd go back in the draft if he doesn't sign. Yeah. I mean that would be how it plays out. I don't know that I understand that one. I think a big thing with the Bengals too, and
Mm.
I don't know that everything that goes on. Like I know they were trying to tie some of it to like incentive based things like thresholds to make it become guaranteed or whatever. The little bit I have read about it. Again, I'm not super deep into it, but 99.9% of the Bengals issues when they exist, it is like over guarantees, and they like to avoid guaranteeing money fully, because if you fully guarantee the money, you have to put that money into escrow, and like it sits in an account and you no longer have that money in your pocket. So like if you're
Yeah, you
fully
can't touch it.
guaranteeing Jamar Chase whatever $40 million, like $40 million has to go into an escrow account, and the Bengals are usually liquid cash poor. Like there's usually cash flow issues involved with them. So that's usually why you see issues with their stuff. That's why you see Joe Burrow consistently kind of calling them out in his own way for being cheap or whatever. And it usually comes down to the guarantees with them. And if you're going to guarantee a contract for a superstar player, like you have to go out and actually have that cash on hand if it's not tied to a if then scenario. So like they usually try to put like if then things in there so you can, the 2027 money doesn't have to exist in your account today. You can earn that off of ticket sales or whatever and then pay it at the time. But coming out of your pockets all that money at once is that's real money,
Yeah.
real money issues. Yeah. So that's usually what the Bengals contract stuff comes down to.
Wow, man, you just see it on every single level. I see other people operate like that, and they're not an NFL franchise, but it's always seems to be the Bengals in this situation
Yeah.
where these things go down. So I guess that's just the way they like to live. But going back to Shuck, you think it's just a wait and see, wait for these other people to go, and then now it's naturally my turn. And let me get into it. But I don't know if any of these other picks like that have the potential to be the starting quarterback for the team.
If I'm Tyler Shough and I'm his agent, I'm not moving until the guy before me moves.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense. Like it's in your benefit. If you're his agent, your sole purpose is to make sure your client has as much financial security as possible.
Right.
And I want the agent that's not folding prematurely.
Oh
Like
yeah, for
so I
sure.
mean, if I'm him, if I'm his agent, like that's how I'm playing it. And I think you just have to like that's take care of the business, get it done, and figure
Mhm.
it out. Like it's nothing I'm panicked about now. If he's not playing in July, well then I think that's when things start to. But it's not there yet. I think you wait, you play this out as long as possible. If you don't have to make a decision, that the deadlines, whatever the first reporting day on campus, I can't remember what it was, July 23rd, whatever it is. Like that's when the deadline is for that. Like that's when you start to kind of evaluate, okay, how does this affect the competition? If you miss a practice, what does it do?
Yeah.
Who actually has the leverage? July 22nd is when they report. 23rd would probably be the first practice, but you don't need to have those conversations now. Like it's just you're a month away. You're literally a month away
A calendar month.
from
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I wait and I see how everything else plays out. If guy 37 folds, then the precedent is set. 38 folds, 39 folds. But right now, nobody's folding. They're all holding steady. Why should I be the one to not get this benefit from my client if I'm his agent? That's how I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I got you for, to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Make sure you handle your business and sign up for NewOrleans.Football. Catch you after this break.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Shough Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Shough Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Shough Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Shough. That's 504-326-6526. Shough Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide flavored whiskey, Ponchatoula strawberry, and Chilton County peaches in your favorite bars, stores, and restaurants. Hardhide Chilton County peach whiskey is a blend of aged wheat whiskey, light American whiskey, and fresh Chilton County peaches from Alabama's Durbin Family Farms. And Hardhide strawberry whiskey tells the story of a small town famous for strawberry farming. A delicious natural strawberry-infused 86 proof whiskey for whiskey lovers. Just look for the red and orange bottles in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants.
Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for our next segment presented by Shough Insurance, the Earhart Agency. If you're going to look up Shough Insurance, make sure you look up the Earhart Agency. They'll get you right every single time. Nick, there was an SB Nation poll where they gave a 50% gave a grade of the offseason as a solid B. 26% gave it a C. Are those fair grades? Do you think that's fair grade for the Saints?
I'm gonna throw the pass to you first.
All right. I think drafting wise, so far, it seems like everything has been a smart move. So that's a significant chunk of it. Free agent wise, getting Justin Reed, big deal kind of for this team. Not for the long-term future, but for the future right now. He's 28 years old, so he's young enough / a little bit old enough to still be extremely viable where you know what you're getting. You're not questioning, oh, how will he be? I feel like if you add like an Asante Samuel, depending on how he comes back from this neck injury with his age, it could be a greater long-term value. So that's a hypothetical that still isn't set in stone yet, so I can't use that in the evaluation. I just know that it's on the table. But, I mean, look, not having Derek Carr anymore, getting cap compliant, those are also positives in a certain sense because, I mean, you didn't know what the whole Carr thing was going to be about. When the injury became a factor, it just became, how can you get out of it or how can this be remedied? And I think the best outcome came out of that. So I have to ride and give him a B.
It's funny how things get viewed because, like, at the time during the hiring process, it was, this is a disaster. The organization's a joke, da da da. And then it's like you get to June and people are like, oh, I like this guy. I like how he thinks. Yo, he won a Super Bowl. Like, maybe it is. Maybe this was a good hire. So it's funny. It's funny how perspective shifts on things.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Kellen Moore. I like some of the signings they made. I like drafting Kelvin Banks. I like the idea of taking a shot on Shough. We'll kind of see how a lot of those things work out. I don't know what to think of the coaching staff at this point. I think it's to be determined. The one area in this that, like, if you're asking to assess a grade, I don't know how to assess.
It's hard.
There's one thing that happened that, like, was the wildest, best financial move that I have ever seen, and it was completely unplanned. And it was a Derek Carr thing. Like, they restructured him, they clear the cap space, they have the money to sign everybody. He retires, they get the money back. Those two things aren't supposed to happen.
Crazy flip.
Yeah, if you're getting rid of him, you're supposed to have to carry all that money until June 1st. Like they literally got everything, two things that are supposed to be mutually exclusive. It's either A or it's B, a very binary process. Somehow they got it to all work. And it's like it's straight up like the height of mafia accounting. And we have seen a lot of mafia accounting here over the years. This is like the height of it, like a straight up tax scam that they did, and the IRS had to sign off on it because it was all legal. And I don't know how to assess that because like I don't think it was planned, but it worked out like that. And through that lens, like, man, that's wild. Like I have to lift the grade up a letter for it. Yeah, but honestly though, like for me, it's incomplete. Like there's just too much to not know. It's impossible to grade it on what we can see. I like the theory of a lot of things, but I think a lot of it's to be determined too. Like, you didn't like I think Kellen Moore gets graded against the class wins and losses, but also Aaron Glenn in a sense because that was kind of the guy. Like Tyler Shough gets graded against. I think a lot of stuff changed it, but he gets graded against every quarterback taken after him. And, there's one obvious one shooter that they didn't draft. So I think that becomes part of that evaluation. Like, so I think there's just a lot of stuff that has to get, looked at and parsed under the results-based lens. But in general, I like the theory of everything that they did to an extent. The Derek Carr thing was insane. And, I have to just tip my hat on that one. I don't know how it worked out. Even as we say, it wasn't a plan. I think at a certain point, it became something that you had to operate the right way to get that result and not buckle and not worry about public scoring and not worry about, all these things and being willing to stare it down and have it work out. Because honestly, like, I don't think it was just a thing at the end where a guy was like, you know what, like I'm a good-hearted individual. I got hurt on the field. This money was guaranteed. It ended my career, but damn it, like I just don't want the money. Like I don't think that's probably how it played out. I think there were other mitigating circumstances within that. Obviously, I think Derek Carr played ball within it at a certain point too. So, yeah, but I don't think anything is 100% one way or the other. I don't think the Saints planned it. I don't think Derek planned it. I don't think the Saints did anyone a super solid. I don't think Derek did anyone a super solid. I think at the end there was a compromise because it was operated once a set of circumstances emerged to where like, you had to move the right way to get to that result. And I'll give them credit for moving the right way to get to that result. But the overarching ultimate credit, no, it wasn't planned. Like there's no way that was like they got lucky, but in the end, they turned luck in their favor.
They maximized it. Yeah, they maximized off the opportunity. An aside for the later to be named Nick and B movie and pop culture podcast, what's the greatest mafia IP, let's say that, of all time?
I mean, well, to me, it's easy. Goodfellas. Like Goodfellas is the best mob movie like of all time. Like to me, easily, very, very, like far and away, like the best. I think that's like the height of cinema. I think a lot of stuff came from it. Yeah, I mean, and then just like the whole Henry Hill like Boston College scandal. Like there's layers to it that the movie didn't even get to.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. He I mean, there could be a whole other movie. Yeah. Okay. He led a point shaving scandal back in the day. So I mean, there's that, and then there's like, yeah. I mean, to me, that's it. And then there's the book. Like the book is amazing. Like I think it's just to me that's top tier. Going down to second, I mean, it's Sopranos then for me after that.
See, flip them for me.
Okay.
Flip them for me. I saw The Sopranos before I saw Goodfellas, and then when I saw Goodfellas, I had a great appreciation. I told somebody the other day, go get their Shine box, and they didn't know what I was talking about, but it was meant to be disrespectful. So the whole Billy Bats thing is there.
Billy Bass, yeah. Casino's up there too.
3,
yeah, Casino's up there too. Yeah, for sure.
I don't like the digital de-aging and all that kind of stuff, but Irishman was kind of cool.
Yeah, I couldn't super get into it. And look, I think just the I mean, obviously we got Heat, but that was kind of two parallel stories. And then like, there wasn't a lot of so there was just like so much waiting for I mean, I'm disappointed in like a handful of things. Like a handful of things.
What do you mean? Break them down. Break them down.
I think for me though, like the thing is, we got heat, and obviously, you got the two guys in there, and they're on parallel paths. But if you're of a certain age, there was like the dream scenario of getting De Niro and Pacino like in a co-starring movie role, like, and it came much later, and the efforts, like, it just feels, it's not what it should have been. It's not what it should have been. Like that was, and I mean, obviously that like people are disappointed. Like a lot of people have opinions about the era, but like Katie and Steph, when they get together, like it's magical basketball and it takes you to heights and everything.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was at the time. And he kind of felt like a tease. And then, once we finally get these guys working together later on, like things weren't.
Not Celtic Shaq.
Yeah. It just felt like it was too late. Like it was just like, man, this should have been something else.
Yeah, man. Scarface plus Jimmy. Oh, that would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. But to just kind of finish out this grading scale, I think the Saints grading scale, I think putting a pin in this and then revisiting it in January to evaluate the offseason as its own separate entity, and then going into the regular season itself, it'll tell its own story. But just one more what if Derek Carr's injury situation would have arose earlier, before kind of the start of free agency, how do you think that plays out in terms of the veteran talent on the team?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think some of that stuff plays out different. I mean, some guys probably aren't willing to take pay cuts and everything. That goes into like the circumstance and the cheating and on the taxes and all that. Like, so many things happen because of this. Where I think if it's, oh man, like let me go chase something else, I think some of these guys would have said that instead of being like, yes, I will take a pay cut to come back there. Obviously, expectations probably are lowered, but the reality of another 5-1 season is extremely heightened without the starting quarterback on there and not knowing who's going to play quarterback. And they're going to kill the Godfather too. Like, yeah, obviously same thing. Like they aren't on screen.
You said your take about Godfather though, but I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
Of
I mean, he's the younger dude. Like obviously, I mean, just like it was like the waiting for decades, and then it's just like, this isn't what it was supposed to be.
That was like the equivalent of, we played on the All-Star team together. Oh, we played on the Olympic team together. But no, I want you in a real 82 basketball season team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what it was. But who was you talk about the Carr situation, how he didn't do any favors for the Saints and the Saints didn't do any favors for him. I'm just imagining a scenario in my head, just talking about these mafia situations. Who was it that hung Vanilla Ice off? Was it Pac that held him off?
No, that was Suge Knight.
Oh, Suge, yeah. That was Suge Knight that held him off the balcony, man. That was wild. And that's kind of, I don't know, a scenario I played out in my head when it's like, hey, you can get his money back regardless if you want to or not.
I don't think they had to hold him off the balcony though, but I think, I mean, I think that's where it came down to at the end is that there was like a mutual just understanding where nobody, I think the agreement prevented that. That would have been the arbitration case. It would have went to there and it would have got ugly potentially if there wasn't a just kind of, hey, let's all just agree to something. Let's let the dirty laundry stay in the laundry room. It doesn't have to be put out for everyone to see it. I think that's kind of what happened, so that there wasn't Suge holding Vanilla Ice over the balcony rail.
Crazy. Yeah, I was wild in the 90s, man. Cutting up.
I mean, nobody's holding cameras, man. You could do things. it's probably better, for in the larger. I mean, look, there's some bad fallout for people that have bad moments, but
Definitely.
I mean, people ain't getting away with stuff no more like they used to, which I think is in general. I mean, you got to take the downsides with the ups, but I think it's a good thing.
Sure. Let's move into our next segment presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. Make sure you check out not only the OG Ponchatoula Whiskey, but the Chilton County Peach Blend also hits just like the Strawberry Whiskey. We talked about Shough and his contract earlier, but other players on this team still need to get paid in a certain sense for their long-term future with this team. So what player should the Saints sign an extension with during training camp?
I said this one the other day. I would do the Alante deal now and just
So
get it
would
done
I.
and have him on the team. Yeah,
So
get it
would
done.
I.
It's the cheapest he's probably ever going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it. I don't wait to see if he breaks out. I think he's someone that's good on your team no matter what. I think there's a role for him, and I think he's a versatile player. I think if you wanted to play him at safety, you could. I think you could play him in the slot. I think there's a lot of stuff he can do, the outside, all that. Like, I would try to sign him now and get that value and get him while he's cheaper and not wait for the price of the brick to go up.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I'm at with it too. I think getting Alontae right now, not only is he at his cheapest point right now, but like you said, the versatility and all the different spots. It's just the amount of stuff he's had to overcome even on this team with being moved here, moved there, being benched at this point, then coming back, then showing out, then leading the team at sacks at some point last season, and just making a whole lot of different things happen. But also he's a connective tissue from, because Tyron, I expect him maybe 1 or 2 more seasons after this. And Alontae still can be that guy that's connected to learning what that was like under him and then connecting that to this next generation moving forward. So I think having him secured up, I mean, he's got to be a significant part of your future on the defensive side right now. I know I keep on talking about Asante Samuel, but that hasn't been done yet. That's not a sure thing. That's not a guaranteed thing. And who knows how he's going to come back after injury. So I think locking Alontae up is got to be priority in terms of signing people on these contracts after Tyler Shough, of course, just moving forward.
Yeah, it's crazy. Neither one of us went to Olave. He's probably,
but I don't know what that's
talent-wise. It's the best investment. It's the availability, and like, does it make sense for the team? That's the thing that
right.
Alontae is like a piece that I don't like. In we're talking about, I think a golf of difference in value too. Like, I think Chris, is getting like huge money. Like, if you're signing Alontae now and you're getting him on a slot corner contract, I think there's good value to be had there. And I think it would, hey, look, like, Alontae's protecting himself from having to play through a contract year. And he's a guy that plays a style of football where if he has the opportunity to protect himself, but also from his point of view, he could bet on himself and potentially make a whole lot more money. So I don't even know if he'd be willing to. I don't know what the best move for Alontae is, but if I'm the GM of the team,
I think I should pursue. Yeah. I think I should pursue doing that. I didn't mean to cut you off right there, but I just had a thought right there of Chris Olave. The reason I didn't choose him right now is because his position is even contingent on another position being good. You know what I mean? If the quarterback situation doesn't work out, why would I sign a ginormous why would I even, it doesn't make any sense at that point.
Even if he's 100% healthy, I don't know if the timeline aligns. Right. What's the point of having, it's that the meme of the Ferrari parked underneath the trailer park port. Like, that could potentially be like, that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
So that's why I didn't choose him. I mean, of course, skill wise, lock him up because you want him to be a lifer, but. And not even really talking about his injury history, but just the fact that you don't know what that's going to look like. And then now you have him secured up and you want him to continuously wait. Oh, we're going to get a QB in here. Oh, we're going to get a QB in here. Not saying that these two guys, because we started off the show talking about how these two guys can make an impact, but what if they don't? You know what I mean? Now you're back at the drawing board next year, getting another quarterback. I know I'm going to say your name. You don't have to say it, Klubnik, somebody like that, Nuss, somebody like that. And I really do think that for the long term for Chris, I mean, he's been through it. Started off, came in there, had Jameis. Then Jameis turned into Andy Dalton. Then Andy Dalton turned into Derek Carr. Then Derek Carr turned into Spencer Rattler / Jake Haener. Then back to Spencer Rattler. Jake Haener was only like half a game, but still, and he didn't even play in that game. But still, continuously going like that, like this zigzag up and down of quarterback play through every year you've been here, pretty much. I think it's just, it'd be good to just make it play out, see how the quarterback situation is, and then evaluate it from there.
I mean, if I'm Chris, I'm not signing right now either, unless maybe I will with the money and everything. Yeah, like the assurance, given the health. I probably would actually if I was Chris. I'd probably sign that contract.
I wouldn't, and neither would I if I was Alontae. But like you said, if I'm the GM, I'm presenting that as, hey, I'm letting you know I want to sign you long term right now. You could play and not do it, or you can do it and just have this all zipped up right now. But
if I'm Chris, I'm not. I'm hyper aware of longevity concerns in my career. So if there's guaranteed money on the table, I'm taking that.
It was in question after last year with the amount of concussions that he had. But I mean, I think you could never say because if you could, everybody would do it. But to prevent having that, but I think he's taking kind of every precaution that he can to strengthen himself up and put himself in positions to not have to deal with that again. But you can never say how that was going to play out. But hoping for the best, not just for him, but for everybody when it comes to that, because long term, after you hang up the pads, that is a serious issue that people deal with. So I definitely think thinking about yourself and your family is extremely important when it comes down to things like this.
No doubt.
We're going to hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have the Get Gordon question of the day. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I get Gordon?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I fight for the people of Southeast Louisiana every day. I got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $250,000. Another client was hit by a big truck and needed back surgery. I got them $700,000, and they deserved every single penny.
That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't I get Gordon?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, just call me, New Orleans. Get it done.
Call 504-800-8888.
You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Here at the Queen Casino, indulgence knows no bounds. Prepare your taste buds for an extraordinary culinary journey. Start your day at Capital Coffee. Craving something different? 3 Walks Noodle Bar offers a tantalizing selection of Asian delights. At 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails, savor American cuisine with a twist. Or ascend to the loft for an elevated experience. Enjoy artesian grazing boards and exquisite craft cocktails. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for the Get Gordon question of the day, presented by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Today's question is, what to make of the Saints' weekend signings? The Saints signed tight end Seth Green, offensive lineman Barry Wesley, and cornerback Jaden Price.
I think just turning the bottom of the roster, seeing what's out there, seeing if any of these guys can play. I think they all had good UFL moments, UFL tape. There's some familiarity with some of them being in the league before. So I think it's just trying out some different guys. I was a little bit surprised to see who got cut, Trey Falulin and Xavier Ballade. I thought both of them flashed at times in these practices. I thought Xavier maybe had a shot at that running back battle, like in the group of like other guys, Velas Jones, Marcus Yarns or whatever. Like they all kind of had some moments in camp, but ultimately, like, are any of them a difference maker on a team? Probably not. It's also impossible to kind of judge what running backs are doing when it's a passing camp. But I thought he had some moments in the pass game. Falulin had a couple pass breakups in one of the OTA practices. That stood out a little bit. But overall, I think it's just trying out some different guys, and I'm all for it. I mean, I'm all for churning the bottom of that roster, seeing who's there. It's the only way to really find gold is if you're willing to pay for it.
I like that phrasing right there, churning at the bottom. Because sometimes, like, if you get like a juice or something like that, then all of the flavor goes to the bottom, and you gotta shake it up a little bit, get the sugar moving around. Oh, that's how I really like that. But a question aside from that, you talked about a good bit of these guys being UFL talent. USFL, what is it? What is that? UFL. Yeah, UFL talent was right the first time. When is that going to turn into like a real like NBA G League to NBA kind of developmental kind of league? I know it kind of is right now. It has the framework of it, but when is it going to turn into you guys are like that in between of guys that didn't get drafted or needed another chance to develop yourself, get your time, develop yourself up, and then get called up and become viable starters and role players throughout a season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is that to some extent, to the extent that it could be that. But the different, like without the affiliation, I don't think that it could be that, because you can send guys down from your, NBA team or whatever, and then bring them up. Same thing with minor league baseball. I don't think football's ever really going to have that.
That farm kind of approach to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it takes too much investment, and there's probably not enough money to be made off it. And I think what they got is probably good enough, and you can just kind of expand your practice squad a little bit if it ever became a real thing. They probably don't feel like there's a shortage of talent. You know, they're probably stretching out the extent of the roster as it is. You go out to camp, you see 90 guys out there, and I mean no disrespect to any of these players, but there aren't ever 90 guys that deserve to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a few guys that are just kind of there, and
Camp
there's a massive talent difference, and you can just look at him and be like, this isn't going to work out for him. Now, granted, I think that there's some talent that falls through the cracks, and you get guys that go to the CFL and come back and play well, or go to one of these leagues and can earn a spot. So it's not a perfect system, but from a business sense, is it such a problem that you need to create something to fix it? I don't think so.
Got you. That'll do it for this edition of NewOrleans.Football. We appreciate you all for stopping in today. Catch you next time.